Alright, so this is going to be my overview of HeadJack. I've been messing around with it all weekend, and it's pretty robust, so I just wanted to make a little companion video to go along with any discussion we have about it. I know we were planning on having a meeting where we'll talk about some of the features and all of that, but it's quite a lot, so I didn't want to spend too much time on the details when we talk about it, but I wanted to give you all enough information to where you can decide whether or not you want to use the software. So I'll break it up into 3 parts, and I'll also make a PDF that I'll send out as a companion to this video. Hopefully I'll have it ready before I send out the video. But either way, yeah, I'll break it up into 3 parts. The first part's going to be just a very general overview of what I found using the platform. I'll just go into some of the general details about it. And then in the second part, I will do more of a walkthrough of kind of like a use case using the software, how you'll be interfacing with it, some more details about what each of the particular parts of the platform are, and things of that nature. And the last part will be more of my side, and what I could, what I'll be doing and what I could potentially do for the project, and a little bit of that functionality. Not too much detail, because you all will, for the most part, just be working with HeadJack.io, the website, and they also have an application that you can use to control the VR experience, the in-game VR experience of the people watching or using your app after you build it. So when you start, this is going to be where you land. Of course, you've been to the website, but essentially to start using it, you would click this, and then it's just like using any other web-based CMS system or content management system. You fill out your email, all that, and I've already done that. I could share the email or the username and the password with you if you just want to go ahead and jump right in from here, or we could set up another one. But this is what you'll see. But since I have all that set up, when you jump in, you just hit the dashboard. I already have this open, and you'll be greeted with this interface here. Generally, what HeadJack offers is almost like a server that you would use if you have a YouTube channel or like a Vimeo or something like that. It'll host your content on their server, and with that, you can just have a repository of videos and content that you can use to build your apps. But it also has the CMS system, the content management system, where you can modify the application in real time to actually control the experience of the users, and also to control the different parameters of the application. Get into that in a little bit more detail, but so I guess, yeah, for the second part, let's jump right in. So so the first thing you'll see is the dashboard, where you can see your analytic data. It'll have like the number of views you have, the number of sessions, which essentially means how many times people have joined in on your application, have been using it, how many videos you have, and how many applications you have. The second part is where you'll have all of your apps, and this will just, after we build those, you can either build them completely on HeadJack.io, or you can modify them in Unity, but we'll get into that in more detail. You have your builds of applications that you've modified and then have actually built into an application. A list of those compilations are here, and they also have their own compiler debug errors, which I'm not really... I guess they would have to have that in case you do some more obscure coding and it doesn't vibe very well, but this doesn't vibe very well with their website. But some of the errors and warnings came from just compiling without making any modifications outside of HeadJack, so I'm not really sure. And I also don't really know how you would use these references to change anything on the platform. I know they do offer API solutions, so maybe there's an online compiler system, but I haven't gotten into that. I've used Unity and the platform exclusively. So those are your builds, and then app signing is more for if you do potentially decide to release the applications onto a marketplace, it pretty much will, this would be a list of all of the applications and where you have actually published your content to be sold, like Google Play, Apple Store, and Microsoft, all of those things. It'll be listed here because you can do that directly from the platform. Haven't done that yet. It's behind a paywall among some other features, but again, I'll get into that later on. Then you have your content tab. Content is all of the media that you use to decorate your application. I guess it also is part of the functionality, because this is where you would upload the videos to be used in the application experiences. But when you have your applications, you'll see more of this when we get into the app in Unity and on the Oculus. But when you jump into the app, it'll have an image that you can set to be the ping image or whatever for the application, and you can swap those out on the fly through the Headjack.io platform. You can also change the videos in real time to boot another application. All of the content that you would use to decorate it's going to be right here. It's pretty convenient. And then you have projects. This is all of your projects, published or otherwise, that you've built with Headjack. This is where you would also upload any projects that you were working on outside of Headjack. You won't have to worry about that too much because I'll be taking care of that, but that's there as well. Categories. I haven't set any categories. I believe this is a default. I might have made this a mistake, but you can set categories almost like folders to where you would put all of your projects. So if you had one project where everything was a type of pixel art experience, you can put that in pixel art. If you do something that's VR video or 360 video, you can put all those projects there, and so on and so forth. Remote control is a little bit more interesting. I don't have a tablet, Android or otherwise. I don't have iOS. I don't have a tablet, so I couldn't test this out, but for the most part, it's almost the same as their legacy web operator. And here you can select your application, project, and then you can select from these assorted actions here and in cinema mode. I'll get into more of the separate modes and I guess more of the in-app features, but in cinema mode you can actually control an experience that is network synced amongst all the users in your application, in your experience. So they would switch over to the cinema tab. You can play it, pause, resume, stop, all of those things. But you can also download projects. If you have something that was cloud build, but you're running one of the applications from Unity, you can force download the project for you locally, or you can also do that for everyone who's in the experience. You can download it onto their system. Of course, you can delete projects so they're no longer in your repository within the app. Show project details, all of those good things. I haven't messed around with that too much, but I will be using that when I demo the application here in a little bit. Then you have templates. Templates are essentially pre-built projects. You can use any one of these right out of the gate and it'll work perfectly fine. So yeah, you can use any one of these right out of the gate. But if you do want to modify any of the projects, there's quite a lot of things you can do just from Headjack. I'll show kind of the pros and cons of that, but yeah, you do a lot with just the pre-built projects that they have on here, so it's pretty awesome. But as I was saying before, you can have like cinema, kiosk, and grid. Grid is what I've been messing around with for the most part, but if you switch over to the cinema tab, then you can, it's almost like walking into a movie theater. And then kiosk is basically the most basic version of using the application. It's like if you had a bunch of people who were just using like Google Cardboard or like the Gear VR, and they didn't have the remote. It's basically you walk in and it's grid, but there aren't any selectables. It's one-click operation, or no clicks at all. It has the hover over with the loading screen, and it'll automatically download and play videos. And every other one of these templates is essentially a variation on those three types of experiences. It's just with style changes or slight functionality changes and so on. So moving on, here are my templates, and this is where you would you can have all of, like if you decided to download a bunch of different templates, you can have those all listed here. Click into them, download them, modify them, but these are where the templates are held. And as you can see here, after you've done your modifications and things like that, you can generate a Unity package that you would then download. You would upload into Unity and use that. Use Unity, the IDE, to create any additional scripts or assets for your experience. So here's teams. So anyone who joins the project, those people will be listed here. It's just me for right now, so no one else is listed. And then you have settings. This is what you would have seen initially if you just logged on to, if you just clicked Get Started on the Headjack website. The first place that you would land would be here, and you'd fill out your information. If you decide to do a project moving forward, and I'm not a part of it, or you decide to do your own solo project, just fill out your general information here, and then you're good to go. And then the subscription. This is where you can upgrade to a different plan. The free plan is pretty limited, and I'll go into a little bit more of that in the good and bad section, where I talk about some of the pros and cons. But this is where you can upgrade if you decide to do that moving forward. I actually forgot something. If you go into apps up here at the top, and then you go into your project, if you were to just select one of the templates on Headjack.io, and you didn't want to do anything outside of their platform, you just wanted to work with the website, you can still do quite a few modifications to personalize or customize their templates. So if you wanted to do that, you would just hit settings over here, and then you can make your own splash image, which is just I guess the first image that you see when you boot into the app after you've built it. And then of course you'd have your logo, which you would see in the section right here. You can change the background color. I guess they have 3 sections here for that. You can load up 360 images, a whole bunch of different media. It's pretty robust. I'm not going to build the app now because, as I mentioned before, there's a paywall and you can only have one project at a time. However, you can export that as many times as you want and for as many platforms as you want. But behind the paywall, you only get to do one, so I didn't get to do that yet. But you can take a look at this. And I'll try to include as much of the information about this in the PDF when I build that. But anyway, moving on. So now I'll take you into I guess more of what my side is going to look like. So let's jump into Unity. When you download the package, or when I download the package, I'll be getting something that comes with a whole host of different SDKs and built-in APIs that are proprietary to the Headjack IO platform. It comes with 3 scenes. The app, which is where you'll boot into, it'll have a loading screen showing the application booting up. The main menu, which is where you'll be, anyone who's using the app will be interfacing with it. Here you can see, as I showed briefly before, the grid, cinema, the kiosk. Here I just added a box to show that you can, add pretty much anything you want to the scene. Modify that any way you want. This is it's the most basic you can get, but I could code this. I haven't had time yet. I've just been messing with the website over the weekend. But you could, add animations here. You could add any type of FBX model here. You could essentially completely remove everything that's, in the scene, or replace it if you wanted to. So it's the functionality, the customization on the website is, it's pretty rad, but if you jump into Unity, you can do whatever you want. I could change out the fonts of some of the buttons that they have here. I could swap those out for separate animations. The callbacks to the scripts and the API online are pretty detailed, so I don't see that being a potential issue if we decide to go that route. Basically, whatever your vision is, if it's possible in the Unity IDE, you can do it with Headjack IO, which I find to be, pretty awesome. So I would essentially customize the project here, add any functionality that I wanted to the project here, and then once I'm ready and I've done all the modifications that I want, let me just see here. Oh, it's because it's a default material shader. After you do any modifications that you want here, you would just go up to the Headjack, export the template, and then go back into Headjack and upload it back into their server. As I said before, you all won't have to worry about any of that, but it is a pretty awesome feature. It's pretty seamless. So I actually forgot, there's 2 ways that you can use the application. You can either download their app and load it onto your device, and then use the Headjack link to essentially stream the experience onto your device, or you can just build a Unity app, and they'll send you an email letting you know when it's done, and it'll save the app. It'll send the application to you via email, but it'll also save the application locally on your machine if you agree to that. So, but for now, I'll just be using Headjack link, and I'll be going into the app, and I'll record that so you can all take a look to see what it looks like. Okay, really hope this works. Okay, so I'm in the application that I built in Unity. This was before I added the cube to it, but so I built out the template here, and essentially when you're using the Headjack link, you'll be presented, or otherwise you'll be presented with this code. The code that you'll be using is right here. So in our case, the pin to jump into our application will be 284572. Not sure why. Okay, 284572. Enter. Okay, and then you're in, and this is the test project. So for the grid, I only have one video, so there's only one here, but for grid, you'll be presented with the image of the project, and then you can either delete or play the video. If I want to just go ahead and play the video, of course I just click, and we're in. And this is just a video that I found in another Unity project. It was part of their demo. It was the only 360 video that I had that was actually working with the project. Sorry for the disorientation. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you can just hit the back button to go back. Cinema is a little bit different. When you're in cinema mode, this is where outside of the application you would be controlling their experience. So now I'm going to go back into the Headjack website, and I'm going to go to remote control. I guess I already had it open here, and open the legacy operator page. I'm going to select my project or the app, and then the project. I mean, these are basically filters to help you find if you have a bunch of projects, but just have the one. So I'll click this, and then I'm going to hit play, and it should automatically start playing the project. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I guess it just took a second. I'm doing a lot on the computer, so you might be using the Wi-Fi, but yeah, you can play the experience for everyone. And then if I were to go back and pause it, should pause. And it is paused. Cool. And play. Sorry, I have to take my headphone off, or the headset off every time Okay, I guess if I hit play, it restarts it. So there's that. So that's basically what you got. And then just go ahead and stop this. Okay, so that's what that is. And then the last tab here is going to be the kiosk. And here, this is like if you had cardboard users and you just wanted people to use to be able to interface with the application in a little bit easier way. This just has the same hover and select functionality. Again, all of these things can be changed inside Unity, so it's a pretty good place to start. Alright, so that's the app. I'm gonna jump out of here. So yeah, that's pretty much as far as I've gotten with the application so far. I'll try to make a little bit more dynamic demo project that everybody can download and then use. I'll try to have that sometime this week. I really wish that I could mess around with the tablet functionality as opposed to using the web operator that they have here. I'm pretty sure that if we have a presentation and you're at a convention that you'll be using, a tablet of some sort. Or possibly you could use a laptop. It may be easier that way, but this will probably look a little bit cleaner. So I wish I could use that. Maybe I can try to. At one point, I had BlueStacks on my computer. Might have been an older computer, but I can try to get that and then use, a certain tablet functionality and test it out that way. We'll see. I'll try to find that and set that back up. But we'll see. Anywho, so yeah, there are a few pros and cons. I'll go over the good first, and then I'll go over some of the things that are not so good. Um, One of the best features of the platform is that it's completely holistic in the sense that everything you need to build an application and to use it for functionality is right there on the website. I'm not sure how involved you all plan for me to be with the project, but essentially you all could do everything from the website here. The instructions are pretty intuitive. It's all pretty straightforward. They have companion videos on their YouTube and I believe on the website as well. And it all works pretty seamlessly. I mean, aside from the little hiccup I had where it took a little while for the video to play, which was the first time that ever happened, and it probably has more to do with my internet connection or my devices. It's been completely seamless, which is good and reliable. So that's a good thing. Another huge benefit is their CMS system. You can upload 8K videos, pretty much as many as you want to their server, and host your content there, all of which is downloadable at any time. So if for nothing else than having a storage device, it's pretty awesome, and that they give for free. They offer multiple App Store compatibility. So essentially you can, when you're dealing with applications, it becomes a bit of an issue trying to configure them so that they are compatible with any of the regulations or parameters they have on a particular store, especially when it comes to like ads and all. It's a lot, but they pretty much tailor the application to be published onto the different app stores, and they do that all for you right out of the gate. Also, another thing, Headjack serves as a pretty awesome intermediary between the developer and the director of a particular project, in the sense that you can just upload whatever content you want to be a part of the video experience, and I as a developer can take that, modify it, customize it to whatever direction you have, and then put that back on the website for you to review. Their servers are very, very fast, and they're very reliable. I haven't had very many drops, aside from when I tried to do some weird code things. So it's good in that sense. It's kind of like when we were using, I don't know if you all are familiar with the ATL project I did with Jose, but it's very familiar in that workflow to be able to share different revisions of a project and have everyone be able to see those changes and make changes of their own. It's a pretty reliable, intuitive system that they have here. Another great thing is you can modify the templates beyond their stock functionality, and the way in which you do it is it's one of the easiest ways I've been able to do something like that. Usually when you deal with an API for a particular platform, also a great example from the ATL project, there's constant compiler errors. The API is extremely specific. There's not a lot of flexibility. A lot of the things that you could do with VR chat, or I'm sorry, a lot of things that you could do with Unity, you just simply can't do with VR chat based on the limitations of bandwidth, limitations of resources, the fact that it's over a network. There's a lot of things that you can't do. With this, essentially, it's a video player, so you can do pretty much anything you want outside of that to enhance the experience of the people using your application. And I haven't come across, really any problems with it so far. So that's really, really good. They also have like a really great cloud encoding system. To be honest, if I were making the video, if I were making the videos or publishing them to this app, I wouldn't use it. But that's specifically because I know that any form of cloud computing, no matter how efficient, isn't going to be as fast or as versatile as using a program like Adobe Media Encoder. But the fact that they have that there, and if you were not using a developer or an editor who was familiar with that type of software, the fact that they have it there available is a pretty good is a plus. Another awesome feature is the operator feature that they have on here. The fact that you can control the experiences outside of the VR headset for everyone simultaneously is awesome. That's something that I guess from a base, if I were to just try to code that outright, first of all, I would need my own server, which unfortunately right now I don't have, and you would also need to set up your own namespaces or whatever for having network synchronization, which it's available, it's out there, but it's would be pretty difficult to do. So that's awesome. Another great feature is that you can build this application to a number of different devices. You can just see here, you can do the Gear VR. I think the Oculus Go is deprecated, but you can do it for the HTC. Any type of device you can build this project onto. So you can have someone viewing the experience from 5 people with 5 different devices, and have them all view your experience in that synchronized experience. So it's pretty awesome. They have a really great analytics suite. So let's go back into the dashboard. As I said before, if you've used anything like YouTube Studio or Vimeo and things like that, the analytics data here, it feels very, very reminiscent of those interfaces. You can highlight based on the different data that you have here, but them having that built-in function is great. You don't have to get something like Amazon AWS or any of the other online analytic third-party programs. I guess essentially you don't need any of those. You can do all of your analytic stuff right here, so that's very convenient. You can sort it, you can filter it by a custom range, day, week, what have you. So that's really great. You can get real-time updates on how your application is performing. And I guess the last good thing is the SDK. You can design custom apps, and the flexibility with which you can do that is really, really great. It's really cool that you can take their application and so seamlessly customize it and then use it. It's hands down one of the easiest APIs I've ever used. It's like almost like they're doing the work for me. I'm sure I'll run into issues if any of the modifications get pretty out there, but so far it's been smooth sailing. Okay, some of the not so good things. One, I guess all of them really come from the fact that to use the software initially, you're essentially just given a demo. There's not really a lot you can do functionally if you're a developer with just the free package that they have. Most of the cons that I've run into are the fact that a lot of the really cool stuff is behind a paywall. Or it's things that don't necessarily, I think, even have to be behind a paywall, that they put behind a paywall to incentivize the purchase of their product. Case in point, video encoding. You have to encode to their specifications when you upload video content onto their platform. I guess this makes sense. You don't want people uploading videos that are 8K that's going to cost you money, and then just having tons and tons and tons of videos without contributing anything to the platform or its maintenance. So yeah, they put so they encode the videos, which shrink them down and will probably affect the quality somewhat until you pay to be able to use your own encodings for those videos. Okay, another pretty big con is that you can't actually get the executable files for your exports of their templates. They put that behind a paywall. So if I wanted to get the actual package of the project that I could load onto one of the devices or upload myself onto a platform, the actual executable file of that, in order to get that, you have to pay. You have to upgrade to one of their other tiers. The way that I was using it before was the way that I was even when I showed you the demo of the project, I was using their the hijack link. So I didn't actually have the executable file of the project on my device. I simply had I linked to their application and they streamed the experience to my device. I talked about this briefly before, but you're only able to build one project, just one project. As I stated briefly, you can build as many of that project as you like. You can build, a million of them if you want, but it's only going to be that one project. And you can also build that for a number of different devices and platforms. Like I could have it in every store that's available right now for VR content, but I couldn't actually have the executable. Now there is a slight workaround for that. If I were to download the Unity package, I could then export the project as an executable myself, but it does have their signature on the application, so they would be entitled to royalties. And by that point, given all the other functionality that we'd want with the project, we'd probably be, beyond the paywall anyway. And I guess the last thing is, if you really wanted to, you could do everything that they have available on the site, yourself, or a developer could, essentially. And I'll add this in the PDF, but I'll probably end up using some of these resources as well. Oculus has a integration package that does almost all of these things for you. I'll try to make a demo project of that if I can a little bit later on down the road. But yeah, you can build these apps yourself. Basically what Headjack did was use that repository and just made it very efficient, packaged it onto a website and is selling it as a service. But if you really wanted to, you could get a developer, myself, or anyone else to build it for you. But given that, the fact that you can control content yourself, you can customize all of that stuff right there on the website. The fact that you can pretty much host, terabytes worth of data, with all the video if you decided to on their website, and then just the way that you can control all of those experiences in real time and update. I guess my verdict is that I think this platform is great. I think it's fantastic. If you're just trying to have an experience where it's video, it's perfect. Now if you wanted to have more of a dynamic experience, I'd probably go with another platform. But if you're just hosting video profiles, you can't really go wrong with Headjack. I'll try to do a lot more later on with it, just try to explore some more of the features. As of right now, I'm not gonna jump behind the paywall and pay for it because it is a subscription service, but I think it's great. It's great. I wish I could use the tablet and start messing around with that side of it, but I don't have one. But yeah, it's pretty great. I think I have here pulled up somewhere the pricing. Okay, so yeah, for free you get these features here. This will be in the PDF. For the Pro, it's $50 a month. I mean, I would get it, but you know, we're not. If you decide that you want to go this route, we'll take a look at that. But here you would get, you know, offline app mode. I'm not really sure what that is. Unlimited team members. Okay, so I didn't know that there was a limit on the number of members of the team, or I forgot it. But yeah, you can take a look at all of these things here and see. And then they have their studio, which I'm not sure the pricing or the features of that specifically, because you would have to contact them, and I guess work out a contract that works for you. So yeah, that's my experience with HeadJack. If you have any other questions, you know, just hit me up on Slack or send me an email. If it's feasible, I'll try to, you know, get you more information or do another demo. I will be working on that PDF and potentially a spreadsheet, because I want to see what my steps would be working with you all. I'm sure I'll need more information from you, but you know what I would need to be able to build and prototype and all those things for the project, and kind of what those steps would need to be. But yeah, if you have any other questions, you want to know anything, just let me know. Talk to you soon. Cheers.